Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, power is taken, not given, joined as always by the one who is predicted to bring balance to the force, the chosen one, John Cooper Paz of Counterpoint Politics. How are you doing today, my friend?
Doing well, TJ. I definitely, I'm not always with you, as we only ever talk during these shows. But I wonder if like people think that like we talk all the time. We don't. We save everything for
Yeah.
these shows. We do like basic logistical planning and a couple snide comments over text here and there. But we save it all for the public because we wouldn't dare deprive you of any behind the scenes content, at least until we have a Patreon for you to pay for that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. Paid over the cash, folks. Yeah, this gold ain't for free. Yeah, which well, I guess it is now, but eventually. No, the wait, you were going somewhere with this about us being on the same page. What were you?
Oh no, I was just going off your intro, TJ. There
Oh,
was no point to be made there.
okay, all
As you
right.
can tell, we're already gearing up for a rip roaring, well planned show.
Oh God, yeah. So I don't know. We were just talking backstage about how it's difficult to come up with something that justifies being talked about, at least for me. That, hey, I saw that I everything I see is like goofy shit. I saw RFK mentioning that a keto diet could cure schizophrenia, and I don't know if you saw that, John, but I was gonna bring it up. I had the clip ready. I said, man, why? Is it any more insane than anything he's already said? I guarantee he'll say something crazier within a week or two. It's I always kind of dismissed the idea that the Trump administration is trying to just shower you with bullshit so you can't keep track of what's going on. I don't know. I'm buying into that now. I'm really buying into it. I was talking to my dad right before we started the show, and he mentioned that Donald Trump was suing the IRS for $10 billion. I didn't even hear about that. That was 3 or 4 days ago. That news story came out. I didn't even know. So yeah, it's hard to keep track.
I the I don't necessarily buy it's always about flooding the zone, keeping people distracted, because at this point it kind of would already happen anyway. Like they don't need RFK going out there and saying whatever cures schizophrenia in order to keep us distracted with all the constant bullshit that's going on. Like it really, I don't think it's that anymore. I think it's primarily keeping the whales hooked. They need to keep those people watching Fox News and give them new topics to talk about and buy their whatever supplements or Trump coins they're selling. And that's really what it's about. It's not about flooding the zone to distract us. They got that covered naturally. It's about just keeping the people that they got hook, line, and sinker on that line so they can keep just reeling in more and more from them.
No, I agree. The a real my favorite dumb guy point or observation is when someone says, this news story of X, Y, and Z, they're just putting that out there to distract you from what's going on. I always thought that was insane because one, um, the stuff that they are distracting us from supposedly is stuff that is talked about on the news. It's stuff that
Uh-huh.
everyone, yeah, it's never anything earth shattering or surprising. And two, you don't care anyway. Like people generally don't care about this political stuff. Like John and I have been doing this for years now, and I've come to a sad realization that we've talked about many times on the show. People just don't give a fuck about politics. It's really boring and really dull to people. And that's how someone like Trump can get a bunch of folks who aren't politically engaged to vote for him because, oh, he's a funny, interesting guy. And I wish that weren't the case, but it'd be foolish to pretend otherwise. So no, I don't think that it's this coordinated effort to distract the public because they don't need that. But I agree. This is something that you got to keep feeding red meat and slop to the hogs. And Trump is
Yep.
great at that. He's like he just dropped the Greenland thing. Remember all last week or the week before, he's
Mhm.
ramping up how important it is that we get Greenland. Every conservative commentator out there said this is a huge matter of national security. There's nothing more important than us securing Greenland. Gone. They just nothing with no shame about it. So yeah, this is just about feeding slop to the hogs.
And that's exactly it. And that's like Trump's biggest superpower. Like what you just said, politics is boring. Well, he made it more
Yep.
interesting for people who thought politics was boring. And to his credit, I don't know if he, or not to his credit, I don't know if he did that on purpose. Like, I don't know if that was some intentional plan. I don't know if any campaign manager ever really noticed what was going on, but he kind of just naturally made shit interesting to people who previously could not be bothered to give a fuck. And more importantly, and I think you see this in his polling numbers, and we talk about this all the time, when Trump is on the ballot, Republicans do way better
Yep.
across the board, across the entire ballot, even when Trump, like voting for Trump isn't all that important or whatever. Those local elections, they'll still turn out more for. But they don't show up when Trump isn't on the ballot. They don't really care about Republicanism even. Like they might identify as Republicans. They don't care about helping the Republican Party. They care about Trump, and
Yeah.
Trump keeps them engaged, and that is what they are hooked on. And this is why I always say people are like, "Oh well, if you lose Trump, then JD Vance is the next guy up, and he's even worse." And I'll say I do agree that JD Vance would be worse because he's probably more competent, but he doesn't have the Riz, guys. He does not have the secret juice that's going to keep these people who do not consume any political news other than Trump shit. And that is Trump's voting base. That is why he wins every Republican primary, or almost every Republican primary he has fought in. And he's going to keep doing that. And once he's gone, there's nothing to replace him.
No, it's going to be all over. No one's going to be able to take up that mantle. I think the only person who would make me nervous is if maybe a Tucker Carlson decided to do it. He does have the communication skills and uh, the charisma, and more importantly, the self awareness to kind of figure out what game he's playing. And so I think that after Trump, unless it's Tucker, I don't see anybody else picking this up. This is just going to be you know how it is, and I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah,
All
the
right,
problem
let's
with
see.
Tucker is that he's too much of a douchebag. Like Tucker is people like watching. I cannot imagine that he would get much traction in the way that Trump does. Like
He's
Trump, as much as he is Trump and kind of also symbolic of elitism, he doesn't come across like a Ivy League douchebag in the same way that Tucker Carlson does. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
Like he's never going to reach the levels of Trump. No one can.
Yeah.
But his success in right wing media unmatched, honestly. He was the number one show on Fox News. In fact, it was the number one cable news show in the country, was Tucker Carlson show when he was on Fox News. And which was, I always tell the story about how Fox had to fire the writer from Tucker's show because he was posting Nazi shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was actually hired by Charlie Kirk. Surprise, surprise. Like the guy was too racist for Fox News, like an open and admitted one. And there was no moment of reckoning when that happened. There was no national conversation like, wow, the number one rated news show or cable news show was written by a Nazi. That didn't surprise anyone. Then when he left Fox News, I thought his star would fall. I thought it was all over. Nope, he's actually relevant again. So I think he has the chops and he has the communication skills. No one's going to be Trump, but I would be worried about Tucker more than any Republican politician I can think of right now.
Yeah, and we're doing a kind of hybrid Q&A show here, so definitely post your questions and comments. We have a wonderful sequence, I guess, from JC Light, but it prompts something I do want to talk about. So he thinks that Vance and Rubio are going to dominate. We'll go to that first. Vance, Rubio, do you think that's a ticket for the Republicans?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think that ticket would dominate. Who knows though? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
Yeah,
tough.
who fucking knows? It is kind of insane to pick who's going to run president 3 years from now. The world could be radically different in 6 months. So it's hard to
Especially when
say.
Donald Trump is still saying that he wants to run. Like,
Yeah, yeah. So who knows? Like, I would be very surprised if JD Vance picked up any clout.
we'll see. But he also asked, who do the Dems have? And that's a great question. The Dems
Not a
don't
lot.
have too
Not a
much in
lot.
the stable right now. I mean, we do. We have a couple solid contenders, and as we always know, things will change drastically
Yeah.
between now and primary season. But we have someone making some waves in the Democratic campaigning world. Did you see this today, TJ?
Who are we talking about here?
We are talking about a surprise announcement that happened today from one Kamala Harris. Uh,
Oh,
did you see anything about this?
no, I haven't seen this. No.
Isn't
I'm
that
hearing this for
just
the first time. I'm hearing this for the first
isn't that
time.
just indicative of how pathetic Kamala's campaign is? That you did not even notice this today, but last night her what was it called? Kamala HQ, I think it was
Kamala
called,
AHQ,
the
yeah.
the Twitter and Threads account, and kind of like that social media rapid response
Yeah.
account that is now very popular among politicians. Um, she had one. It was called Kamala HQ, and I want to be clear. This was the last post from her campaign platform, 11/5/24. This account has been silent ever since she lost the election. And then last night they posted this. Hey guys, laugh out loud as teasing a surprise. And the surprise is that they're starting this social media account again.
Oh,
It is, and they have posted one, two, three, four, five, 6 times on their first day. And TJ, I cannot tell you how I'm not like disappointed or anything. I'm exactly whelmed by this
exactly.
announcement.
Well,
It is exactly what I was expecting of Kamala, just doesn't have it. I don't know. I don't know why so many Blue MAGA people are still getting upset when I say this sort of shit, but this is pathetic. Utterly pathetic. Like over a year after she lost the election, and her big announcement today is that she'd make 6 fucking posts on social media, not even particularly good ones. Like I don't know how anyone thinks that she's gonna be one of the first people eliminated from the primaries. I swear to God.
wait. So these posts on social media, did she say she was going to run or hint at it? Or, I mean,
No,
what?
she's still not announcing that she's running
Oh,
yet, TJ. That's what people were speculating, that she's gonna say, I'm back. No, she's just they're calling it, TJ. It's not just a social media account. It is the next generation of campaign platforming. Like the press release was written like a tech startup out of San Francisco, right?
oh,
It was absolutely pathetic. I have disdain for her. Like I have come all the way around. Like after she lost the election, I was upset with her for all of the mistakes that she made. But I was like, well, you were handed a pretty shit hand and you
yeah.
played it better than I was expecting. But the year of basic silence from her with everything going on has just made my disdain for her grow. Like Joe Biden at least is sailing off into the sunset and hopefully won't be around too much longer. Uh,
True.
Kamala, like, what are you doing? How does she think she has any chance after just abandoning the country for over a year while all this shit was going on?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what her plan is, but yeah, you would think that if she did intend to run 4 years later, that hitting the ground running would be the first thing you do, which she didn't. So I don't know. Because she has to know just as well as we do that her chances of getting out of the primary are pretty bad. I years ago I got so much heat, John. This is before I even knew you, but I made a video saying that I thought Kamala Harris was shockingly bad at politics. I couldn't believe how inept. And I mean inept is the wrong word. I mean she is a successful politician. She was an attorney general in the biggest state in the union. She was like the ninth black senator in U.S. history. I can't say she's a shitty politician, but when it came for the big stage, when she was VP and she was kind of supposed to be coalescing support around her. I didn't see now that could have been on Biden, like the VP pretty much to do what the
Mm-hmm.
president tells you. But I never thought she had it, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
and or like you said. But when she was picked for the nomination essentially, and she had to continue or where Biden left off, that is a shit hand. That'd be difficult for anyone. And so I thought she did a decent enough job. There are plenty of complaints I had. I mean, the Liz Cheney thing, the not giving an interview for what 6 weeks after she was picked. There were some
Mm-hmm.
things that she could have done, but yeah, I just never thought she was all that amazing at this job anyway of running for president of the United States. And she can run, sure, but I just don't think she's going to go anywhere. But she has to know that. I'm amazed that she doesn't think that too.
I don't know why she doesn't just quit. Like I like just save yourself the embarrassment. Like she could quit right now and be generally remembered fondly.
You could, yeah, yeah,
Like if she were to quit right now, like we would still be upset at her, but for the most part, the general American Democratic population would be like, yeah, Kamala Harris, good. She's gonna run again and get her ass handed to her and be known as the person who just can't stop losing. Like all she does is lose. It's gonna be very, very bad, very, very quickly for her.
it's easy for me to say that she should just drop it and not do anything else, but I'm not that close to being president of the United States. Like as far away as I think she is, I'm a million times further away. So yeah, it's really easy to say, hey, hang it up, just be the cool elder statesman that people like. But yeah, you gotta take
But that's the thing. If she feels that way, then Actually commit, bro. Like I'd be if she was hitting the ground running, for the past 9 to 10. She could take a little time off. She's a human.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got to take time off of that campaign. That's totally acceptable and okay. But by time February 25 rolled around, she should have been back in the thick of things if
Hmm.
she wanted to be president. The past year has been her audition for "Do you want to try again?" and she has failed
Doesn't
miserably.
look like she does. Yeah, or
Yeah.
does she? That is the annoying part. It's the like the oh, am I? Am I not? Or she's not making it obvious one way or the other, which is kind of frustrating. The Republican or not the Republicans, so the Democrats do have to be careful with. I don't know. These next few years, everyone always says this is the most important election of our lifetime. Every election is that. I'm not trying to go down that road here, but the Democrats do have to make sure that they know that the time to change is now. They cannot keep doing the same shit over and over again. We can't have the Chuck Schumer's and what's his name, Hakeem Jeffries type Democrats running this show, because Democrats kind of sat on their laurels in the fact that they know that the Republican Party is 85% white and that all of Republican politics is white identity politics.
Mhm.
So there's like, okay, well, the demographic change, we're going to, override all of that sentiment here because of the growing number of immigrants and minorities coming into the nation. And you guys can't rely on that. You can't do that. That is not going to work. And I pulled this up. I was talking to my dad about this before the show started. But I do remember after the 2024 election that Trump, he gained in almost every category, like almost every demographic, he gained votes.
Mhm.
And in 2020, Trump got 12% of the black male vote. In 2024, he got 21% of the black male vote. It's wild. Like I don't think a Republican has won 20% of the black male votes in ever, honestly, since like the pre-FDR days or something like that. And then with black women, he got 5% of the vote in 2020, and he doubled it. He got 10% of the vote in 2024. And Jesus Christ, Latinos, he got 39% of the Hispanic male vote in 2020, 50% in 2024. Unheard of numbers. So this is a consistent. Oddly enough, the one group where he did go down, it was white women. He went from I think 53% to 51%, and white men maybe two. Maybe they dropped a point or two.
Mhm.
Oh no, he gained. He gained 2 points with white men. Okay, of course. But yeah, you have to realize that the game that you're playing. I hate to say it, but this is like a social media economy. This is what Trump has learned. Trump has learned this that hey, you guys say you're politicians, but what you actually are content creators. You get out there, you throw red meat to the people who like you, who appreciate you. They're going to reward you. Now, I don't know if anyone ever is going to reach that level he has, but the old playbook is just not going to work anymore.
When do you think? Because Colby says here, I think the left is just aggressively replacing establishment Democrats the way the Tea Party pushed out the neocons.
Are we?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but when do you think that start? Do you think it never starts? Like, because I can't imagine a world in which there isn't at least one candidate who takes the full-on aggro path through the primaries on the rest of the party. I don't know who it's going to be, but one of them is going to have to, and they're going to be an early riser early on. I very much imagine it'll play out where you get your Gavin Newsom's obviously going to announce. I imagine Gavin Newsom will announce first. Kamala will announce. Your stalwarts will announce. Then we're gonna have a Vivek Ramaswamy. We're going to have a Bernie 2016. We're gonna have someone who's on the fringes that we aren't even considering right now at this moment, who is going to take it to the establishment candidates, and that's going to be successful. Like I cannot imagine a world in which whatever candidate like gets on that debate stage and says, you know what, fuck Chuck Schumer, like that's going to get some headlines, going to get the momentum. And if it's successful, it could cause a snowball effect. I'm just surprised it hasn't happened already. I'm surprised AOC is still playing nice. Like I don't really understand the strategy other than wanting to remain kind of a unified party until then. But like someone's gonna fire that first shot. Or do you think I'm little pie in the sky right
I
now in my
do.
expectations of
I do.
Democrats?
Yeah, I do think you're a little pie in the sky here because I don't see any reason to believe that's true. I after I mean, it didn't happen with Hillary Clinton. It didn't when she won the nomination. It didn't happen when Joe Biden won the nomination. I mean, it's like I don't see this movement of like, oh, we got all these progressive, these hard chargers that are looking for this massive change here. I think that what's going to happen after this Trump administration is the same thing that happened after the last one. People are going to play it safe. They're going to say, well, I'm not going to take the risk of putting some fire. Maybe if the person's young and exciting enough. Like if you have a lightning in the, honestly, the people we're referencing here are rare candidates like Obama or Sanders or Trump. Those are exceptions, not the rule. I think that being a hard charging progressive isn't enough. You need it. Like maybe AOC has it, maybe she doesn't. I don't know, but I am not confident at all that we're not going to revert back to the mean after this administration is over.
I do hate that like AOC is the only person that I really see being possibly that person, and I still don't know if AOC has. I
I
love
don't. Yeah,
AOC personally. She appeals to me. I don't know, and she definitely, I definitely can't rule out that she has it. You know what I mean? Like I can't sit here and tell you, yeah, AOC definitely it's not going to work in the same way that I will Kamala. But like, mm, it's tough. It
and
is slim pickings right
and
now.
and let's be real, the Democrats. This is another reason I think they're going to revert back to your standard Democrat. I don't know if I'm in reading the mind of your average Democrat voter right now. I am picking the whitest, straightest guy I can think of to run for a president in 2028. That might not be something that you like that you have to do that, but after what happened with Harris and with Clinton and with Harris especially, oh my God, like at least Clinton won the popular vote. Harris lost that too. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't be shocked if people are a little iffy about nominating a woman on the Democratic side.
And I get that.
Yeah.
JC Light says a 3-year campaign would be a death sentence.
Trump ran for
And
president. He's run for president every day.
yeah, exactly. Like
I just
Trump ran for president. His campaign for 2024 started on whatever the day after election
November
day was,
8th.
November
Yeah.
6th or 8th,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
of 2020. Like he's been running for president. He's still running for president. He is still currently
Yep.
in campaign mode. He has not stopped. He thinks that there's going to be a presidential election with his name on the ticket in 2028, and he's campaigning just in case. Like that is, and this is a good thing. And he's saying Trump is different. No, he's not. I mean, he is different, but that it's not like only Trump can do that. There are other people capable of doing that. Gavin Newsom's campaigning right
Gavin
fucking.
Newsom
Yeah,
is
Gavin
running.
Newsom's
Yeah. He's
been
running
the
for
only
president.
one that has actually taken it seriously and understood that he's campaigning starting now. Pritzker maybe has done a little bit as well.
Hillary Clinton ran for president every day of like Obama's last year. This is it's not rare. I
Hillary
hate it.
Clinton was running for president when she was still first lady.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't like that we have these insanely. And congressmen spend their entire term running for president. It's 2 years. You got to get on it right away. So yeah, I don't think that there's any. I see no reason to think that a 3-year presidential campaign would hurt somebody.
Yeah.
You putting yourself out in the public and getting exposure, as long as you do it competently, I don't see any reason to think that it'll make you less popular.
And like I know people don't announce, but why? Genuinely, like if you just look at like human psychology, if I like look at like salary negotiations, not everyone knows this, but if you're negotiating a salary, you want to highball your employer. You want to anchor the price at the highest possible reasonable number because the first number that is mentioned, all negotiations get anchored to that afterwards. Now, that could fade away, but that's general human psychology. The first person to announce, then each news cycle after the next person announces is talking about the first person again. It's just, I don't understand why anyone doesn't take advantage of this uh,
They they don't do it.
immediately. Just capture it. Just let everyone know you're running right now so that they're thinking about it until then.
Well, they don't do it because once you announce that you're running for president, you have to follow all these highly specific campaign finance laws.
Mhm.
That yeah, you because like if you, as long as you haven't officially announced that you're running, you can do whatever you want with your money. But the day you announce that you are, now there's like eyeballs and magnifying glasses and everything, and you're actually really limited. So that's why people wait. Because you're
That's
right.
true. That
Why would
like officially announcing and declaring your candidacy is different than letting people know that you are running, which
I
Gavin
agree with
has
that. Yeah, yeah,
done everything but that.
yeah.
So, like, I'd say Gavin is the North Star here in terms of what Democrats should be doing, and I hate Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, this is yeah, and I kind of agree with that too. Because when they asked them, "Do you plan on running for president?" You could just say, "Yes, I plan on running." That's not an official campaign announcement, but they don't say that either. I actually don't know why. I don't have a good reason on that because that's hell. I want people. Everyone already knows, right? And
Yeah,
even if you say yes and you back out, what are they going to do? Fire you out of a cannon? Who cares? But I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Okay, I wanted to Colby commented something here where he said, I thought you guys said you didn't have any guests for today. Don Lemon is clearly right above you, John. That's great, Colby. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate this. And let's see, what else? I thought I saw another one here. Oh, huge ass. So he commented that the 1978 Star Wars Holiday Special is the worst Star Wars movie. So I didn't put it in the thumbnail or whatever, but we're only covering the episodes 1 through 9, like the mainline Star Wars movies. And the only reason I didn't think about the holiday special one, that one completely slipped my mind. I didn't add Rogue One or Solo because I never saw Solo. I can't tell you if it's a good movie or not. And it felt weird to add Rogue One and not Solo. So I said, okay, I'm just not going to add either. I was going to keep, but I hadn't thought about the holidays. Have you seen Solo, John?
I saw Solo in theaters when it came out. I haven't been motivated to see it since, but I do think it got overly hated. Like, it's not a bad movie. It is a fun Hollywood blockbuster. It There's far worse in the Star Wars canon than Solo. It definitely gets overhated, but it's also not great. Like, you're fine not watching it. If you never watch it, you're not going to miss anything.
I didn't watch Solo because to me, I don't know, Solo seems like a movie that shouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't yeah, it's giving you a backstory no one once asked about.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people talked about doing Boba Fett projects forever. Absurd given how little time he has in Star Wars. But I never heard anybody say, yeah, we need to do a backstory movie about Han Solo. I mean, Han Solo, they shoehorned everyone they could into the prequel movies. Never bothered to do it with Han Solo. It was a good reason. Like nobody cares. Like I don't need to see a 10-year-old Han Solo running around and shit. So yeah, I just never bothered watching it. I did like Rogue One, but I think most people did. What would you think of
Yeah.
that? Since we're on the subject.
Rogue One is probably the best Star Wars movie in my opinion. If you just take it for what it is, you're like, what is the best made film out of all of these? It's Rogue One. And honestly, I don't think it's even that close. Like, I think it's on a tier of its own.
What it since we'll go to the ancillary properties before we get to the main course here. Thoughts on the Mandalorian?
So I watched the first two seasons of The Mandalorian. The first season is excellent. The first season is so good. It it very much reminded me of Doctor Who, like when Doctor Who is good, where they do this very episodic, hey, we're just going to adventure to this new location and we're going to have a little adventure here. And there's going to be an overarching plot, but it's not going to be the main focus. This is an episodic western, just like Star Wars always sort of was a Western. And I think they did it absolutely excellently. They also do like a very fun, like, this could be the plot of a video game and you wouldn't even like bat an eye. Like, he gets an upgrade in every episode and it gives it nice, fun momentum. I thought it was really well done. They did a good service to the character. Baby Yoda, wonderful. Both a
Perfect.
character and a marketing gimmick.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Really, I could not have asked for more from the Mandalorian, and then they tried to do more, and I don't think really accomplished everything that they should have, and I kind of fell off. But yeah, so I can't really speak to any season after two.
I I think there's only three, right? I think there's only
Oh, is
three
there
seasons.
three? Well, there's three, and then there's the other one, like the Book of Fett, which
Boba
is
Fett,
not the
yeah.
same thing. But I have fallen off of Star Wars, TJ. I'll jump back in when there's good stuff. But it's been slim pickings around here.
So you're a harsher grader than I am. The I loved Mandalorian season 1 and 2. I liked both of those seasons. I think the show should have ended at season 2. I remember after watching the last episode when Luke Skywalker appears and he takes Baby Yoda for himself to train and everything, and you have the sweet moment of Mandalorian and Baby Yoda being separated. I thought that's a good button ending right there to this little minor story and Star. It felt like Star Wars. This is I'll get into this with the prequels. That my problem with the prequels is they didn't feel like Star Wars to me, not from the Star Wars that I had known. And the Mandalorian felt like, oh, this is exactly what I like, the feeling of a space western slash
Mhm.
samurai movie. And but season three, John, you did yourself a favor not watching season three. Season three is dog shit, man. It is just hot fucking garbage. So good on you there. And last one, did you watch the Obi-Wan show?
No, TJ, I did not bother. If you any, this is just a rule of thumb of mine. If you are de-aging an established actor and it's a not like a little cameo or whatever, but a
Yeah.
main character I have to watch every fucking episode or whatever, I'm just not watching it. Like it would have to be, I'd have to hear that it is so like on Breaking Bad level for me to even consider watching a show that does that because I just can't. It gives me the ick, TJ. It gives me the ick. I hate it. I do not want to do it. Before you answer, I just want to give a shout out to What's Good English. Uh, we should have him back on the show. We have
Yeah.
not spoken with What's Good English in a while, but he agrees Mandalorian fell off. And
He
he
just
also says
commented on
Andor is the best
Instagram.
Star Wars franchise.
Andor. I never watched Andor. I have to
I know we
watch
gotta watch.
Andor.
We just gotta
I do.
watch Andor.
I
Like I
have to
don't know
watch
why we
Andor.
don't.
Well,
Like
oh, go ahead.
I tried. I did try, and then I fell off of it, and I really struggled to get back on the show once I fall off, because it is a slow start to that show.
Okay, yeah, I watched the Obi-Wan show against my better judgment. I said, okay, well, we'll see what this is here. And I agree 100% with the de-aging thing. I don't get people's fascination with this. In fact, in The Mandalorian, they had Luke Skywalker reappear. And I remember people were doing a lot of fan casting. They wanted Sebastian Stan, the guy who played the Winter Soldier, to play Luke Skywalker because he looks just like a young
Yeah.
Mark Hamill. And instead, they they had they had a young guy who kind of looked like a young Mark Hamill already to do the acting like with the body and everything, and then they CGI'd a young Mark Hamill's face on there. Said that's stupid. That's really dumb. You already have a guy who kind of looks like Mark Hamill and doesn't look like a weird, uncanny valley situation. So,
Mhm.
and another one where I hated that was The Irishman. The Irishman? Did you
I
watch
also
that?
couldn't get through The Irishman.
I Yeah,
Yeah.
the Irishman. I watched it in like three different sittings because it wasn't a good movie. It just wasn't entertaining. But watching Robert De Niro, who was in his 70s at the time,
Mhm.
playing a 21-year-old character, and they tried to de-age 50 years off his face. And he didn't look 20. He looked 50, and he moved like he was 70. He didn't move like a 20-year-old. So I fucking hated that. But yeah, I watched the Obi-Wan show, and my beef with the Obi-Wan show is that it actually makes Obi-Wan Kenobi look like the greatest supervillain in the galaxy because already he beats Darth Vader and leaves him to burn instead of killing him, instead of just killing
Mhm.
him right there when you could. But then in the Obi-Wan show, he beats him again and then just leaves him. He's like, okay, the Obi-Wan is like the cause of untold deaths right now because he likes his buddy Anakin and doesn't have the ball. You've killed thousands of people, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You can't bring yourself to kill it. I don't know. I hated that.
Fool me once.
Yeah, exactly. So after that,
Full man don't get fooled again. That's
so after that, I was done with Star Wars. That was like, okay, I'm done. I can't do this
Well,
anymore.
it's actually funny, TJ. Like, so this will be very apparent over when we're talking about the films. But Star Wars is a franchise that I like everything about Star Wars that isn't the films. Like the overall world building of Star Wars is magical. It is so good. I love a ton of content that isn't the actual Star Wars canon films. I actually think they're not all that good. They're way overblown. But the world they built is incredible. And I actually love all of the philosophy that goes into like the Jedi. Like is what you just described. Obi-Wan is the fucking liberal moderate, bro. Like that is what he is. The Jedi Order is very much a criticism of liberal moderates. It's like they don't do the actions that are required to actually maintain peace to the galaxy, but they are also comfortable like butchering thousands of people on a whim. It is very interesting if you look at Star Wars through the lens of the Jedis are not the good guys, the world becomes a lot more interesting. And the Sith, I kind of dig the Sith. Like if you look at the Sith and their philosophy, I'm all down for it. I really like their philosophy way better than the Jedi's, and it's a lot of fun. But they don't get into that shit in the films, and it's very upsetting.
Uh, I agree with you about the Jedi that if you go into the Star Wars canon watching that, the Jedi are amoral at best, like amoral actors at best, and maybe kind of bad guys too. Like, oh, them kidnapping children makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, this is kind of par for the course with these guys. I do have to say though, I am not a fan of the Sith. The Sith
Yeah,
is one of my biggest complaints in Star Wars. First off, I remember when the prequels were about to come out. I heard a lot of people talking because they read all the nerd shit, the expanded lore, the books, and everything with Star Wars, and they kept talking about the Sith. And I said, "What the fuck is that? What is?" Because the word Sith never appeared in the original Star Wars movies. It just doesn't happen. But I'm just supposed to know this that the Sith are the bad guys. Okay, whatever. And I can't
I
stand
did not realize that, TJ. I, I
John.
I did not know until just now. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, you're right. That is a prequel thing. But I
Yeah,
never actually realized that.
it bugged the shit out of me. It's like Sith because they said it like I was supposed to know it. Whenever they did interviews and stuff, they thought, well, these are the rules of the Sith. I'm like, the rules of the who? The what? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't bury my nose in the Star Wars books, but uh, the one thing about the Sith that bugs me, well, one of many things, the fucking rule of two, John. The rule of two that says there can only be two Sith at once, a master and apprentice, right? And the whole point is that the master is supposed to train up the apprentice, knowing full well that the apprentice will one day turn on him and kill him. And if the apprentice can beat him, he deserves to because he's the strongest one, and that's what the Sith are fighting for. And so there can only be two at a time because more would be chaos. That's absurd. That is stupid. That is them writing themselves into a corner they did not need to write themselves into. No one forced them to go with the stupid rule of two. And then it got really annoying to me when I saw that. I learned this in the Obi-Wan show that there's actually this cadre of force sensitive former Jedi's who work for the Sith who have lightsabers and use the force, but they're not actually Sith. Fuck you. Yes, they are. This rule of two is this stupid thing that you just cling on to. It's like, no, just have them be a regular military group where you have a bunch of Sith because that's exactly what you have. So the rule of two really bugs me. We're not gonna get into
So
it, but
so that's actually why, like, I love the rule of two. The rule of two
oh
specifically is
god,
one of the things that's such a cool. I wish they did more with it because that is such a cool dynamic for a story to have. Hey, I'm willingly training this person with the intent that they will murder me one day with the skills that I am giving them. That's so fucking cool. I love might equals right villains that are logically consistent. And you're right, it isn't really logically consistently done in the Star Wars canon, but the idea, I disagree with your idea that isn't a cool idea because it's a really fucking cool idea. I mean, it's not far removed from Viltrumite logic. Like, Viltrumite logic, it's not two, but there's not many of them because it would be chaos if there was. Like, it
no,
kind of does work that way
no, John.
logically. It's the same thing.
Okay, by logically, do you mean wildly inefficient? Is that what you mean, guy? So there's 10,000 Jedi, right? There's 10,000 of them all over the galaxy. Two of us, I think we can take them. That's
Well, no, there's not
ridiculous.
only two Sith Lords at any given time. It's just a pairing of two.
That's what the rule is, right? There can only be two Sith. That's my
No, no, no,
understanding.
no. Because I mean, look at like just look at the prequels. You have Sidious, you have Mole, you have Count Dooku.
That was
Uh,
after Maul, though, right? Because like you had Sidious and Maul. That was the two.
no,
Maul
but
died.
Dooku existed and was a Sith Lord before Mole, and Mole didn't die.
Okay,
So
all
like
right, all right. The Maul not dying thing. I'll
I
get to
don't.
that
I
later.
think you're incorrect that the rule of two is there's only two Sith Lords at any given time. I
What does
think
it
you're.
mean then?
It means it's the pairing that there is a master and an apprentice. An apprentice cannot take another apprentice. They must kill the master first. That's the rule of two, as far as I know.
All right,
Again,
okay.
it's been a little while since I got deep into Star Wars
That
lore, but
sounds even dumber then. That sounds even dumber. That if there's unlimited number of Siths, but one of them, the strongest one, is going to train the second strongest one, and instead of just rising up through the ranks. Like there are evil military groups that don't count on one guy killing the other. I don't know. It's just I think it's stupid. I think it's kind of dumb. And but since you said that there's more than one Sith, that
I'm
kind of wraps
sorry
it up.
that the Magic Space Wizard story is a little stupid and dumb for you, TJ. You know it's a
No, it is.
children's story, right?
You know what? No, that's bullshit. And you of all people know this. You of all people know this. That like if you start talking about inconsistencies like in a comic book or something, and say like Superman in what Superman 2 or 3 or whatever, he pushes the planet backwards and reverses the spin of the Earth to turn back time, and I was like. That's ridiculous. Like, why would the Earth spinning in the opposite direction make it yesterday? And someone could say, "Oh, sorry that the magic spaceman who can fly because the yellow sun is in a story." No, no, stories can have fantastic elements as long as they are logically consistent within the confounds of the story. You know this, John. I don't know why I'm telling you this.
I was just rage baiting you, TJ.
Yeah, yeah, that's insanity. But okay, all right. So want to get to the list here. Any other ancillary Star Wars thoughts before we continue?
No, no, let's get right into it.
All right. So I want to be ranking the first or the main 9 Star Wars movies we got right here. So let's go. All right. So I've got these broken up into 5 different categories here. Can you read these? Is that big enough? I don't know.
Star Wars.
Okay, here we go.
Yes, I
All right,
can. Yes, there we go.
all right. So the first category, this is like my goal here is to assign what we would do to the directors of these movies. All right, like this
By
is
the way, I want everyone to know I asked TJ specifically what is the tier list about, and he said, "Don't worry about it." So this is all news to me.
so like what you would want to do with the director of these movies. Okay, so the top category we have right here is going to be send them to the Oscar, or not the director, everyone involved in the movie. Okay, everyone
Okay,
involved in
okay.
the movie knocked it out of the park, 10 out of 10. Send them directly to the Academy Awards and go on from there. All right, our second category is going to be send them my compliments. You know what? Decent job. You had a task in front of you. You rose to the occasion. This isn't Citizen Kane or anything, but a job well done. Next category we have here, send them to film school. And I like this one because sometimes you'll see a movie, you're like, okay, I see what you were going for here. This is not a bad concept. The execution isn't terrible either, but you know what? Maybe go back to training camp, buff out the edges a little bit. You're kind of working on something. Second to last category is going to be send them to jail. This is from a movie who that was so bad that someone needs to be punished, right? Like there's no reason that people should be walking free after releasing this atrocity. And the last one is going to be send them to hell. That is going to be the bottom of the barrel right there. A movie that is unredeemable, both spiritually, physically, and emotionally. So, all right. So, do you want to start, John, or should I? The second person will get the final choice.
Okay, you go first. You go first.
Okay. All right. So, starting with Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope. I'm going in the order that the movies came out because that's the order. In fact, I'll ask you this, John. What order do you think these movies should be watched in? If you ran across someone who'd never seen Star Wars before, how would you tell them to watch it?
Release order. They should be watched in the order that they came out because that was the intended order for them to be watched in.
I agree. I absolutely 100% agree. All right. Oh, did you just start something?
I did. We're going to get back to what I started.
Okay. All right. All right, Episode 4, A New Hope. I am going. I mean, this is an easy answer for me right here. Maybe you might feel differently, but send them to the Oscars. I think Episode 4 is very fun. It's entertaining. It's exciting. It's got everything. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's just enjoyable. There are a few things I might change. I don't like how little Darth Vader is actually in it, and how his role is not necessarily explained so well. But for the time, that if you think about what sci-fi adventures were before this.
Mm-hmm.
They look nothing like this. And the music alone, John, like the music alone just blows you away. That puts it up in the Oscar territory for me, which I know is not the same as the film, but I can't separate the soundtrack from the actual Star Wars movie. So I'm putting it up there. What do you think? You get final call.
I think that
Am I back? There we
You're
go.
back.
Sorry, my internet got disconnected. I'm gonna give you this. I send them to the Oscars. I'm okay with that. I agree. The music is the best part of Star Wars.
So good.
bar none, the best part of the films is the music consistently. Um, I I wouldn't put it in the top tier just because the next film is a tier above in my mind, and so I can't put Star Wars: A New Hope in the absolute top tier. And I think it has failings. Like I think that Ben Kenobi is a miserable character in the first film, and he is greatly improved upon in subsequent films. To the point where when you go back and watch A New Hope, it you're just like, who the fuck is this guy? He's unrecognizable as the Obi-Wan Kenobi that we know. And I just overall, it's a little just it's unpolished, and I get it, it's supposed to be, but they do better. And so I even though it was groundbreaking for its time, I don't actually put that much weight into that when reviewing a movie now because I live in now and I don't find it to be as good as some other films in the franchise.
That's fair. That's fair. I think most people would probably agree with you, or they would put it. I mean, it's not as good as Empire Strikes Back. I think we're both gonna have unanimous consent on that. That's gonna be in the
Mhm.
top tier on that. But I put it up there. But I don't have any beef with that. I do want to bring up something you mentioned with Obi Wan Kenobi. That the character of Obi Wan Kenobi is a fascinating character. He might be the most interesting character for me in the entire Star Wars mythos for a lot of reasons.
Mhm.
And his first, him being on Tatooine, wearing the same clothes as a Jedi that he'd worn all those years, and supposedly hiding out, insane. The fact that he went by Ben Kenobi and when his name was Obi Wan Kenobi, as if no one would connect the dots on there. Living in Vader's hometown, it's so stupid. Like the we'll get to the prequels. The prequels did so much damage to what could have been salvaged. I think it made a lot of the original trilogy a lot worse because it made the character seem really stupid. But I want to talk about Alec Guinness. And Alec Guinness is the guy who played Obi Wan Kenobi in the original Star Wars trilogy. And I think he won an Oscar for Bridge Over the River Kwai. Like Alec Guinness is like a legitimate actor. He was pretty much the only one in the movie. Everyone else, like Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher, they were brand new to the acting and everything. And so, in order for Lucas to get him on the movie, he asked for I think 2%. He wanted 2% of the profits on that, and they tried to screw him out of it later on. But he made it making bank on this for a movie he didn't want to do. And not only did he not like this goofy movie, he didn't like anyone he was working with either. Have you seen a letter that he wrote to his daughter while he was
I think I have, but it's been a while.
Okay, all right. So let me pull it up here. This is a letter that Alec Guinness wrote to his daughter during the filming of Star Wars, and I'll go ahead and read it for you guys here. He states, "Can't say I'm enjoying the film. New rubbish dialogue reaches me every other day on wads of pink paper, and none of it makes my character clear or even bearable. I just think, thankfully, of all the lovely bread, which will help me keep going until next April, even if Yahoo collapses in a week. I must off the studio to work with a dwarf, very sweet, and he has to wash in a bidet. And your fellow countryman Mark Hamill and Tennyson, that can't be right. Ford, Ellison, Tennyson, Ford. A rangy, languid young man who is probably intelligent and amusing. But oh God, they make me feel 90 and treat me as if I was 106. I love that his thing is like, yeah, everyone here is an asshole except for that one guy, Tennyson Ford. What's his name? I remember. He seems pretty cool. Everyone else is an absolute piece of shit. So I love Alec Guinness for
I,
that.
I have to like respect it so much, and he accurately picked out the two actors in the original Star Wars who were actually good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they weren't necessarily great actors at the time, but like both Hamill and Harrison Ford went on to become very accomplished serious actors after this. And it's interesting that he
Yeah.
happened to point out the two actors that had it. You know what I mean?
That's something
Game
going
knows
for him.
game.
I love it. All right, so let's move on to I think this is going to be the easy one, right, John? Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. It's the best Star Wars film. It is everything that is Star Wars. It increased the Vader. It didn't the Imperial March wasn't that
Yep, that was
debuted
Empire Strikes Back. Yep.
in Empire Strike Back? Yeah, I mean probably the second best song of the series in my opinion, and that is very stiff competition. The whole plot is fantastic. It just the fight scenes are better, the effects are better, just every single thing about Empire is an improvement on Star Wars.
Hard agree. No complaints here whatsoever. Empire Strikes Back is fun. The Imperial March. A lot of people don't know that Darth Vader March didn't appear in the original Star Wars. That came with Empire Strikes Back. It was darker. It was more interesting. Obi-Wan as a ghost is like a more fun and honestly useful character in
Mm-hmm.
that form. It's the introduction of Yoda. The
Mm-hmm.
uh, the another kiss between Luke and Leia, or we'll get to that later or whatever. But the budding romance between Leia and Han. I mean, it's just
What was
great.
the Job of the Hutt scene in Empire, or was that
Which Jabba the
Return?
Hutt scene?
The Princess Leia one.
Oh,
The
that's
one
Return of the Jedi. That's Return of
that's
the
Return
Jedi.
of the
Yeah,
Jedi. Okay.
that's Return of the Jedi. Yeah, that Han being but a great scene is Han being frozen in the carbon when
Mm-hmm.
Leia tells him "I love you," and his response is "I know." A perfect Han Solo response right there. And Harrison Ford has famously said that he thought Han Solo should have died in Empire Strikes Back because he didn't have anything to do in Return of the Jedi. Which hey, maybe right about that, but overall, excellent film, no complaints. All right, I didn't think it would be an argument there. Okay, Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi. This is the hardest one for me to rank. This is the
Mm-hmm.
absolute hardest one for me to rank. Like I enjoyed Return of the Jedi. I don't know if I want to put it to send them my compliments or send them to film school. I'm gonna err on send them my compliments. There are a lot of problems with Return of the Jedi. Like we mentioned before, Han Solo has nothing to do at all. He's just hanging out there on the base. The Ewoks are ridiculous, just absolutely absurd. I don't like that the stormtroopers are gassed up by Obi-Wan as being these, sharpshooters, like these imperial threats. These are the people that are supposed to be dominating the galaxy, and they're beat by teddy bears. That cheapens everything you got going on. And then the final scenes are they take place in what, three different locations. You got the rebels fighting on the moon. You have the rebels fighting through the Death Star in space, and you got Luke fighting the Emperor. I don't know. It's just too much going on there. So yeah, I'm almost talking myself into sending them to film school, but I'll see what John has to say.
So let me talk you back into send them my compliments because I agree. I actually think that Return, like if you're gonna sit me down, hey, do you want to watch a movie today? We have three movies here, the three original films. I'm gonna go with Return before I go with the original Star Wars. I think it's a more enjoyable film front to back. It does have its problems, but I think mostly its problems are that Empire set really high expectations and it just didn't meet them. Like, yeah, the Ewoks, I think, get a lot of hate, which is probably deservedly so, but it doesn't detract from the awesome parts of the movie for me. I just want more awesome parts and less middling parts in the movie. But I don't think they're bad. I didn't hate watching the Ewoks. And again, I was a kid when I first watched it, but even watching them now, I don't hate it. But I do wish kind of the whole thing of, hey, clearly that was the most Viet Cong like that was the most Vietnamese allusion here in that, yeah, the Empire, that's America, and the Ewoks are the Viet Cong. And that would have been so much more impactful if you didn't make them cute little comedic relief characters. Like, you could have done so much more with the Ewoks. Everything else you just said, I think they could have. I think the ending is actually pretty good. I think they really do manage a really good ending with those three concurrent storylines. It's just they're kind of weak. Like they could have been so much better. The fight between Vader and Luke is so good. Like
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
it's so good that it kind of makes up for that, in my opinion. The endings kind of like the new series ruins Return a little bit for me. Like in the way that you said the prequels ruin some, I feel like the sequel series ruins the
It does. It
entire
does.
everything because it's just like, oh, a couple years later, none of this matters anymore. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
fuck, I don't even feel good about this anymore rewatching it. But yeah, I think that it is a much better film than you're giving it credit for because you compare it to Empire. And if you were to compare the original Star Wars equally to Empire in the same way, I don't think you would say that it is above Return of the Jedi.
I think that Return of the Jedi also loses a lot of points in the fact that they recycled the Death Star for the big bad. Lazy
Yeah.
as hell. I'm just lazy as fuck. Oh,
Well, don't you wait, TJ.
I know, right? And so In fact, it was a weaker Death Star. That's actually what bugs me more is that if they had like a super Death Star, I'd be like, okay, all right, but nope, it's an incomplete Death Star. It's one that's 40% built or whatever, and we have to stop. It's like, oh, that seems like a is because when you mention how good these scenes were with Luke and Vader, incredible. But I remember as I'm watching this, and we got to go back to the moon for them to blow up the shields. I don't give a fuck about this at all. I don't
Mhm.
care. And the Ewoks, I didn't come up with this, but I remember someone saying a long time ago to me that the Ewok scenes would have been better if they weren't Ewoks. I said, what if we
Yeah,
were on like Wookiees? Like that would be cool. Like about
yeah.
having a Wookiee planet, and then you would buy them actually being a fight for the stormtroopers. But I don't know. I got a lot of problems with Return of the Jedi, but it's good. I still think it's good. I wouldn't say send
It
it to the
just could have
wolves.
been better. So I was watching a random fucking YouTube video and had one of the most fire lines I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was talking about the game Hades 2. I don't know if you ever played that game.
Oh,
Wonderful game.
I have played it. Yeah.
Okay, I absolutely love that game, but it was being critical of the narrative of the game, and what it said was the game failed to live up to the ending that it inspired me to imagine.
Ah.
And I thought that line was so fucking fire.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I feel about Return of the Jedi, where it's like it doesn't live up to the ending that we might have been able to imagine for it, but it also inspired us to think of better endings. And there's something to be said about that.
Speaking of bad endings with Return of the Jedi, the the special edition Star Wars. Sorry. In the original film, when the Emperor is shooting Luke with the Force lightning and torturing him, Darth Vader, you get a close up of his face, and then you see him looking at the Emperor, you see him looking at Luke, you see him look back, and then he just walks over, picks the Emperor up, and then throws him over the railing and everything. But then when they did the special editions, they added him saying no, as he went over there and grabbed him, and I hated that. Holy, I just, my God, you already had the show not tell. You didn't have the people weren't mystified as to what Darth Vader was thinking. But yeah, that was a shitty ending. We'll get to more shitty endings too. But all
Mm-hmm.
right, now here's these controversial ones. Now I hope John and I are on the same page here because we usually are, but I'm not sure. But I remember noticing that there is a divide, and it's mainly between millennials and Gen Z when it comes to the prequels. Millennials, we hate the prequel. Whoa, yeah, we do. We hate them. Yeah, this is I have seen worse, films, I guess, but I have like disdain for a lot of the prequels. A lot of Gen Zers love it, and you're kind of on the edge there, John. So I'm curious where you go here. All right, it's your turn first with episode one, The Phantom Menace.
So here's the thing with the prequels, and we're going to kind of touch on this in several of these movies. I'm kind of in the middle there, where I don't hate it as much as my fellow millennials, but I don't love it as much as I've seen Gen Z love it. I think that as films, they're kind of garbage, with the exception. Well, we'll get to which one isn't, but I think we all know which one it is. But their world building is so cool. I'm so glad that I live in a world where the prequels happened, because the world building of the prequels is so much more interesting than the world building of the original Star Wars trilogy. It's just that the execution of an actual cohesive film, I wish George Lucas hadn't directed them, because it just doesn't work. It does not work. They're terribly paced, and the recycling, by far, Phantom Menace is the worst. And I would say send them to hell because of how bad the Anakin thing is. Padme falling in love with Anakin when he's a fucking child is so fucking creepy and weird. However, I would put them and send them to jail instead of send them to hell. And it's only for one reason. And that is that Duel of the Fates is one of the greatest songs ever written for a movie. And just because of that song, I cannot put this movie in the lowest tier, because it has one of the most badass ever songs ever written for a movie.
Hard agree on Duel of the Fates. That song is the best part of the Phantom Menace. I think I don't think the Phantom Menace is the worst one. I think you said it was the worst one. I don't agree with that at all. But I think the Phantom Menace's main crime is that it's very boring. It is
Mhm.
incredibly boring. It is. The first time I had like a hole in my heart because everyone was excited for the Phantom Menace came out is when I saw the poster and it showed a 10-year-old boy with a shadow of Darth Vader. I said, "What? I don't want to see Darth Vader as a 10-year-old. That's I can't think of anything less interesting." And then when you finally meet Anakin halfway through the movie, I might add, it's like
Mhm.
45 minutes before he shows up, he's building C3PO. What the fuck? I just this none of this makes any sense at all. They crammed R2D2 in there, I accepted that. But when they showed that Anakin built C3PO, I said, okay, these folks are just they're just doing anything right now. I did hear about a cool twist that they thought about doing in episode 1. I don't know if you heard about this, but originally the Liam Neeson who played Qui-Gon Jinn, his name wasn't going to be Qui-Gon Jinn. It was going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Did you ever hear about that?
No, I did
So
not hear
yeah,
about that.
that he was gonna be Obi Wan Kenobi, and Ewan McGregor was gonna play Qui Gon Jinn, and the movie plays out exactly like we saw it. Like nothing changes, and up even up into the fact where Darth Maul stabs Ewan or Liam Neeson
Mhm.
in the guts, and he dies.
Mhm.
And then Qui Gon Jinn, who is Ewan McGregor, changes his name after his old master to carry on his legacy. And it would have been a wild twist that no one was expecting that Obi-Wan Kenobi dies. And I was like, God, that's actually great. I wish they'd
Yeah.
have done that. That would have made the movie way better. Of course, they chickened out and didn't do it. But no, a lot of big flaws with Phantom Menace, but mainly it's just boring. The Obi-Wan Kenobi, I hate the fact that he's what 25 or whatever in this movie and he acts exactly the same as he does when he's 70. That's ridiculous. Like nobody is the same person for 50 years like that. So yeah, I wouldn't put it on the bottom rung, but I agree that send them to jail is where I put them. All right,
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones. John, you are going to
So
have to do. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, so Attack of the Clones is a movie which, for whatever reason, I remember really enjoying when I saw it in theaters as a kid. And I got nothing else to say because I haven't seen it since, and I
John,
don't want to put myself through it again.
John.
I have this nice little warm feeling with Attack of the Clones. I like the clones. I will put this out there too. I fucking love the whatever the faction's called. I'm forgetting what it is off the top of my head, but the droids. Like the droids are all awesome. I love me some fucking droids. I know the super battle droids were the third one, I'm pretty sure, but like those are the shit. The droidicas were awesome. I loved all of it. Now, am I going to sit here and tell you that Attack of the Clones is actually a good movie? No, because I purposely not watched it to ruin my enjoyment of it as a child. But if you want to put it in go to hell, go ahead, because everything I've ever seen from it as an adult is very, very bad.
John, I believe that Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is the worst film ever created. I have said this hundreds of times over the years. This is a movie that was just, I mean, I, the whole, the whole thing is about the bonding and the growing relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and we get none of that. We get like
Mhm.
5 minutes in the beginning of them talking about their adventures that we don't get to see, and then they spend the rest of the movie apart from each other. And what is the plot of Attack of the Clones? I challenge anyone to tell me, like, what is the plot of Attack of the Clones? You got nothing. You got
I
nothing.
remember there was a really rainy planet. Pretty
You got
cool. Like,
nothing.
I don't know what happens in Attack the Clones.
Yeah.
TJ. Well, you have Django. Django's cool.
Here's the closest you can get to a plot for Attack of the Clones. Anakin and Padme fall in love. That is the closest you can get to some sort of plot, and that's a terrible, boring ass story that doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
And okay, this a lot of this goes back to my thoughts when I first watched Star Wars and like what I brought in my mind and how they fucked it up. Oh, I didn't even mention with the biggest sin of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is that when I saw the ads come out, you saw Darth Maul. I said, "Oh, that's a cool looking character. He looks really interesting. He's going to be a great new Darth Vader." Nope, killed him. Killed him the first fucking movie. And I always say this, people's like, "Well, you know, TJ, he didn't die." Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
In
Okay,
that movie, he died, and
in
he
that
died for the
movie, he
rest of the
died. Yeah,
He gets resurrected out of canon and then remade into canon because that was so popular. That was not their decision. Like that was
no,
not the original intent. When you watch that movie, he was dead. And when you watch the
yes,
rest of the movies, he was dead. You cannot judge him being alive still based on things that happened way after those movies were made.
agree, hard agree. Like they did it after the fact when they realized how dumb of a fucking mistake this was. And I shouldn't have to do homework to find out this character's alive, right? If it doesn't happen like in the main series, to me, yeah, he died in the script and he was supposed to be dead. So yeah, I think that's kind of ridiculous. But with Attack of the Clones, all right. When I first watched the episode 4, and Leia is talking to Obi-Wan through the hologram, whatever, she says, General Kenobi, you're our only hope. Years ago, you served my father in the Clone Wars. And that's it. That's the only mention of the Clone Wars in the original Star Wars trilogy. Now, they don't tell you what the Clone Wars are. They don't mention anything about it. It's up to your imagination, like what the Clone Wars is. Now, as a kid, when I saw it, I thought of it as the Jedi were fighting these evil clones, like these monsters. That's the thought I had because that's all I had to go off of. Then the movie comes out, Attack of the Clones, and I was like, ah, fucking nailed it. Knew it. No, no, the clones are actually on our side. I can't forgive that naming convention. I challenge anyone, a king's ransom to anyone who can point to another example of a movie, book, television series, anything called Attack of the Something when the something are not the obvious bad guys. You can't find it. You will never be able to find it because that's not how naming conventions work. And then when I watched the movie, I was like, wait, we we have the clones? Attack of the Clones? Like the movie is titled from the enemy's perspective? God damn, that is stupid. I can't stand this movie. I would send everyone to hell who watched this movie just to get the purge from existence. But yeah,
Which also, like, again, speaking of like, it's not as good as what it inspires you to think of. The clones are wildly immoral. The Clone Wars is the movie where it's like, oh shit, the Jedi are the bad guys. The Jedi are so bad, so very, very, very bad, and like even like the ostensible reasons for, I guess like in the first one is this because Colby said it's the CIS,
CIS.
yeah, like that's what they're called, the Confederation of whatever, the droid faction that is actually run by Palpatine, but like I don't understand, and maybe I forget at this point, but like it's just like there was no like actual threat. Like in Empire, like in the original Star Wars, it was a fascist empire and we're resisting them. In the prequels, the Jedi's have all the power and they decide to create a slave army of clones to fight for them for reasons that aren't universe-ending existential crisis. Like it's wildly immoral for them to have done that, and it's very surprising they don't really engage with that much at all.
it's it's also like questionably moral, but it's you know fundamentally uninteresting. It's just so fucking dull. Like no one gives a fuck about any of this. Oh, we have this cool story with wizards and the force and lightsabers and shit. Let's all it needs now is just a bunch of talk about taxation and trade routes. So like no one gives a fuck about this shit. It's terrible. Yeah. So
Well, that's the thing, TJ. If they wanted to do that, and I like that they did that because it expanded the universe, but they had to not make kids movies.
yeah, right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm actually totally, I hate that criticism. Like this can't be interesting. It can be interesting. The problem is we're oscillating between this and Jar Jar Binks, and you can't have both. You cannot do both. You have to pick one lane or the other, and they failed the entire way through.
All right, this one I think might be the second most controversial one. I think the Last Jedi is the most controversial one, but you go first, John. Here, where would you rank Revenge of the Sith?
So that's my Star Wars. Like that's Revenge of the Sith was the first Star Wars movie that like I saw at an age that I could really appreciate it. Because I watched the original trilogy when I was fucking 3. Like that's just, you watch that with your dad before you can even understand what's going on. You just like the cool sounds and visuals and the fighting and stuff. I remember specifically my dad was like, "Did you like Star Wars?" And I was like, "I liked when they were fighting. I didn't really
Yeah,
get what
yeah.
was going on in between." So I can't really judge my experience with those. Revenge of the Sith was the first one. I don't know. It's probably 10, 12, perfect fucking age. And I absolutely loved it. And I know it has flaws. I know that the Anakin Padme thing is really fucking stupid. Hayden Christensen is annoying in it. But I really like it. I think it's the best film of the prequel series by a large margin. And I would be upset if you want to place in anything lower than Send Them to Film School. I would put it in Send Them My Compliments.
All right, so John has them and send them my compliments. John, I I'm sorry, man. I will say where I agree with you. I agree that it is the best prequel film by a country mile. The other two don't touch it, and it's the best because I think the concept of the prequels is kind of flawed in that. I remember as a kid, like before the prequels ever came out, you would hear the cast or George Lucas talk about the fact that, yeah, I would like to do episodes 1, 2, and 3 sometime, talking about Anakin Skywalker's past, and that I knew that Obi-Wan Kenobi had like threw him into a volcano, and that's why he was scarred up. Like I knew this before the movies ever came out, and the problem is that's a one movie story. That is a one movie story right there, where Anakin. Maybe two, like maybe
Mm-hmm.
two. It could be a two. It certainly is not three.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the way they did it. So the only redeeming part of episode 3 to me is the fact that you finally get the conflict or the fight between
Mm-hmm.
Anakin and Obi-Wan, what we've been waiting to see for like 25 years at this point. You finally get that. And listen, I'm glad that I got to see it, but I have a lot of problems with the fight. The fight is actually one of my biggest complaints. Is the best part, but one of my biggest complaints. The first one, John, why the hell does Anakin have a blue lightsaber during this fight? I cannot excuse this. That this is like a cinematic malpractice. That there's no reason that you couldn't have had him get his red lightsaber. He was Darth Vader at that point. Or first off, he was already a bad guy. Had been for a long
Mm-hmm.
time, if you ask me. But I got to see two blue lightsabers fighting. Just like aesthetically, it's not nearly as pleasing. And the fight, I hated. I hated that last fight.
Really?
Oh, I can't stand it. I don't like any of the lightsaber duels in episodes 1 through 3. I think they're all hot garbage because they have there's no humanity to these lightsaber fights. This is actually when I got into like an argument with someone years ago
You're
about
about to get into another argument,
John.
TJ.
No, John, listen. These fights are they are like it's like ballet basically. There's no sweat, there's no grunting, there's no threat of danger. You have like two men with infinite stamina. It's basically watching Dragon Ball Z. Like there's flying all over the place. It's not there's I don't get it. Like for example, like the fight between Luke and Vader in Revenge or Return of the Jedi. There's none of that shit much better than any fight in the sequels. I don't need to see Anakin and Obi-Wan swinging their swords like in 360 degrees for no discernible reason. I don't need to see them swinging from vines over fucking lava pits and everything. Insane. A much more grounded, more reasonable fight makes a lot more sense to me. And everyone say, well, look, these people are force masters, top of their game. I don't give a shit. It's not an interesting fight to watch. This is highly structured and choreographed with no humanity, no pain, no threat of danger. And it's like, yeah, I don't buy it. Like, I don't buy that these guys are actually trying to kill each other. It looks like they're dancing. So yeah, I can't agree. Thank
Okay.
you. Colby says too choreographed. I agree.
So, just to address the lightsaber thing, I never really thought about that before, but it is pretty a good point that, like, again, I know they've retconned how lightsabers work 18,000 times, so I don't even know what the current canon way that they work is, but you could have invented anything in that moment for why a Sith Lord lightsaber turns red, and like you could have had an awesome fucking scene where he does something and the lightsaber reacts and starts to bleed through between blue and red. Would have been really cool. I agree with that. You're
How about
wrong
they
about
just gave him a red lightsaber? Like you don't even need it. He just like, here you go. Here's a new lightsaber. That could have happened. Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so I agree with you that with the I understand what you're saying with the fights. Here's my problem with what you're saying. To me, they're one of the best parts of the films because they spent so much time with the choreography and making the mechanics of the fight characterize each individual character. Like the way that Mace Windu fights is emblematic of his philosophy as a Jedi. And so is Obi-Wan's. And so is everyone's. They each have a very distinct fighting style. And it's cool to see that in action. It goes to the samurai movie. The most elite swordsmen in the world with superpowers are going at it with their own individual styles that are based in real sword, like fighting arts. I think it's really cool. I think it's one of the more interesting parts of the movie. Now, does it for a good movie make? That probably not true. You probably don't want to watch the absolute top tier of sword fighting. You want to see more of the realistic shit, the less choreographed shit. But for me, I really love the level of detail they went into with the fight choreography. I enjoyed that part. Again, I enjoy the world building of the prequels way more than they are of its actual films. So I like that part because what I like about the prequels is watching YouTube videos about them, not watching the actual films. So that is what I say about the sword fights, and you should do more studying up on them because it's very fucking interesting.
No, listen, I don't care, John. It is not captivating. Like, it is not captivating to watch someone do a quadruple somersault and swing a sword around. When I know he's going to be fine. I so like there doesn't seem to be any weight. That's it. There's no weight to it. It's not like it doesn't look like two men fighting to me. And like
Mm-hmm.
all the in-universe explanations and shit. Oh, like for example, one of the more egregious parts of the movie is when Padme dies of a broken heart, and I just no inexcusable for like an eighth grade creative writing assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people that's really stupid. Like we see how advanced this technology is, and plus it's a terrible plot device. She dies of a broken heart, and people will defend it. They say, "Oh no, you don't understand, TJ. Padme died because." Her heart was broken, so she died. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like I know that's the explanation, but it's not captivating. It's not interesting, and I don't like the preachiness of the dialogue. Lucas is never great with the dialogue and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but when Obi-Wan says that the Chancellor Palpatine is evil, and his response is, "From my point of view, the Jedi are evil, clunky and terrible. No human beings talk that way." And the biggest eye roll, John. I would have left if there wasn't 10 minutes left in the movie when this happened. But when Obi-Wan literally says it's over, Anakin, I have the high ground, I almost threw something at the TV. I was like, I mean at the screen, okay, Obi-Wan has the high ground, he has to literally say it. And I just no I look I guess I should give my answer here. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna put it at send them to film school. I'm fine with that. I can. Oh, where'd it go? Look,
You put it up there. It's
oh,
send them my
send them my
compliments.
compliments. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put it send them to film school because there's just too much that I can't forgive for this movie. But it is the best prequel movie by far. I was like, holy
And
shit.
and one last note on that because Colby said it really well. He says episode 3 is where George really nailed the Shakespearean space opera he wanted, and I think that's true. Like I think of all of the movies, episode 3 was what the most what George Lucas originally envisioned with Star Wars. Like I think that is, and I agree with your point. It would have been better if that was just one movie.
Colby, you said that she didn't die of a broken heart. The canon explanation is Anakin kind of stole her will to live in order to get enough strength to break out of his Vader suit. Okay, does the movie say this? Because, like you mentioned, the droid says she died of a broken heart. I would like to know if the movie ever says, oh, the reason that Padme died is that Anakin drained her life from her. I would be cool with that. They don't fucking
Mhm.
say it, do they, Colby? They don't. Listen, you guys shouldn't have to mop up their mess, right? You don't.
Mhm.
Fine. You like Star Wars. I like Colby. I'm sorry.
There's like 1,000 better ways for her. It
There's
would
so
no, you
many.
TJ. Honestly, having Anakin kill the kids is also like one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars. Like just the darkness of that scene is so incredible, and he should have killed Padme too. There's no reason that he didn't kill Padme. There's no reason. He should have killed her. That is obviously what should have happened. There's no reason to let him have any sort of redemption here, not like any space for redemption. He should have been as evil as human possible. He just butchered children. It would have been cool to see his emotion, and obviously you can't show that. So it would have been cool if you saw any like I don't know. There was better ways to kill her. Like you could have come up with 18 different ways to kill her that all would have been better of than she died with a broken heart, even with the duct taped explanations that have been made for it over the years.
Yeah, Colby says, "Hey, I didn't write the comic that explained it." I'm saying you shouldn't have to reference it. The movie
Yeah, they
doesn't.
don't. They
Yeah,
don't, shouldn't need a comic to
you
explain.
shouldn't, because like you should just assume that like 95% of the people who watch this movie, they're only gonna watch this movie and the
Mhm.
surrounding movies. And so yeah, like the movie, like the plot either is justified by its own statements or it's not. And what they give us is she died of a broken heart. It is not ridiculous to assume that's the movie explanation because that's the one they fucking gave us. And John, I could not agree with you more. I've said the same thing many times. I think having Anakin kill the kids. The only thing I would change about it is they don't say he killed the kids or he killed the children. They say
Well, they
younglings.
can't. They can't. Like they
Well,
are making a.
you're going down this road anyway, right? Like this guy is supposed to be a space wizard monster, like a galactic menace. He massacred a whole planet of people. It's not outside of his character to
And
slaughter
that's
some
fine,
kids.
TJ. That's fine. You can't. You can only hint at him murdering the children.
No,
Like
well,
you just.
no, I'm not saying they had to show it. I thought it was perfectly well done, but just say
Mm.
kids. You don't got the younglings. That bothers me.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
I agree. When he was choking Padme, that should have killed her. He should have snapped her neck and she should have died. And then they could have done, oh, you could actually point to the fact that this is like advanced technology. Oh, we were able to save the kids. It would also explain why he didn't think his kids were alive because he killed his wife. I don't. And another thing, at the end, Lucas did it again when Darth Vader wakes up and he asks the Emperor, is Padme okay? And then she responds, "It seems like in your rage you killed her." I don't know if you remember, John, but he starts, tremoring everything around him. The whole ship is shaking, and then he comes out like Frankenstein and yells, "No!" Also terrible. What Lucas's problem is, I remember thinking this like the next day. I said it'd have been so much better if they kept it the same, where he starts, wrecking everything in the room with his mind. But no, actually, no, take that away. He's like, is Padme okay? It's like, well, it seems that in your rage you killed her. If he'd have just said, good, that would have been perfect. If he'd have said, good, because
Yeah.
then now he has totally turned evil and they stole that
Mhm.
from us. But, oh,
Yeah.
God. Oh, no. I only have a few minutes left. All right. John, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm really amped up for this shit. Okay. Force Awakens. I think I go first here. Force Awakens. I'm probably in a minority here, but I have sent them my compliments. I
I agree.
know I know that it's lazy that they used another Death Star, but like I said earlier, when I watched Force Awakens, I said, okay, the prequels did not feel like Star Wars to me. They felt it,
Hmm.
everything was more advanced than the previous Star Wars, and they tried explaining it that the Empire collapsed. No, it's just backwards. I don't like that. But the Force Awakens, they had like this plucky attitude with it. I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm surprised you agree. I think you'd say that.
No, I agree. I think that it is kind of like episode 3 is George Lucas's like he finally nailed exactly what he wanted to go for. I feel like The Force Awakens is a better version of the original Star Wars through and through. Like if I'm going to sit down and watch a movie, it's going to be The Force Awakens. It's just Star Wars but better. And I know that's sacrilege because whatever, Star Wars came out first and started it all and you get credit for that. But like if you ask me which one is better, which one's more enjoyable, that one. Kylo Ren, great fucking character. Having Donald Driver as Kylo Ren like really carried a lot of the entire sequel trilogy. And the lightsabers badass. The way they do lightsabers is awesome. They really do feel like in the sequel trilogy they were just light sticks. In this one, you feel the force of them. They have a bite
Yes,
to them,
yes,
and
exactly.
it
Yep.
it works. Like it just works on every level. Yes, it's very safe, but yeah, like it's wait, like it's everything you could want it to be. It does nothing particularly special, but theoretically sets up a very interesting sequel series. And if the other two movies went better, I think we would have a better opinion of The Force Awakens.
John, I'm so glad to hear this because I hear a lot of people shitting on the Force Awakens a lot. I said, no, Force Awakens, like the biggest knock you can say is that they retread the Death Star thing, but that's fine. This is kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. You're trying to
Mhm.
set the course right, and
And
you're
we
doing.
already retread that Star
Yes,
thing, so
yeah,
like this is the fourth time. So at this point, it's just kind of funny. Like,
it's kind of funny,
just
yeah.
like, oh well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna blow up the Death Star.
And this is weird because I thought you were saying something different before. The lightsaber fights were a big deal for me. Yes, this feels like an actual fight where
This is the best fights, by
people are
far the best
yeah,
action scene.
people are actually scared. They're worried. They're doing tactics. It feels like there's weight to this shit. I don't know. It's just it's the characters are very fun. What did Kobe say here? Fantastic cast chemistry. It's the only Star Wars where actually connected with the protagonist. I wouldn't go that far, but I don't know. I connect with the other characters too. But yeah, it was one thing I would change though. I do remember being kind of annoyed. This didn't ruin the movie for me,
Mhm.
but they made a big deal about the fact that Finn was a former stormtrooper. And I was like, oh, that is cool. A former stormtrooper who joins the good guys. That could be a fun
Yep.
way to go down the road. And they have him come out of the ship and not doing anything. He should have done
Yep.
something. He should have done something that had some trauma to him. That because well, what do you do now? You haven't proven you can do anything. You didn't fight for the bad guys, and you just show up with us. We'll just trust you. I don't know. It's I thought they dropped the ball there.
Finn's a waste, absolute waste of a character. Like Finn should have been made a Jedi. I don't know why they did. Like he just after that movie where you're like, okay, I see there's interest here. Like there's intrigue. They just waste his character, and that is one of my bigger criticisms of the Last Jedi. I have a lot of criticisms of the Last Jedi. What did you feel about the Last Jedi?
Last Jedi.
Oh wait, we ranked that? Oh, we ranked it. Yeah, send them my compliments. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Last Jedi. I fucking love. Okay, I love The Last Jedi. All right, I might be the only. This is a divisive film. This is a very divisive film here. But The Last Jedi, I respect that movie so much. I mean, it's worse now after the Rise of Skywalker. But after the first movie, everyone kept talking about, well, who is Rey? Is she a Skywalker? Is she a Kenobi? Is she what's going on here? Like what's her history? Who is she? And they had the ball to say, actually, she's nobody. Surprise. The Force is, and I love that concept that the Force doesn't just belong to it's a galaxy wide phenomenon. It's not limited to 3 or 4 families in this universe. That's ridiculous. And so, and one of my favorite scenes at the end of the movie is when that little boy grabs the broom using the Force to show, yeah, this belongs to the universe. This isn't tied down to the same shit that we've been watching for 50 years. I love that decision. I love the decision to kill Snoke. I said, whoa, I didn't see any of this coming. Now, once again, I respect the balls of this film, but it didn't end up working out at the end because they didn't actually have a story to tell. That's where I will say the prequels do have the sequels beat, in that the prequels actually had an end point, something they wanted to get to that the sequels did not have. So what do you think, John? You get the final call here.
So The Last Jedi, I am someone who sees both sides of it, because when I first watched The Last Jedi, I don't think I've ever left a movie theater as mad as I was when I first watched The Last Jedi, because as a part of this grander story, it's utter dog shit blasphemy. And I say it for a couple of different reasons. It starts off with this scene where you have these bombers in space, and I was just like, okay, I'm really trying to sustain my disbelief, but why are the bombs falling, guys? Why? This is dumb. And then the rest of the movie is just based on, we're trying to move faster than these guys in space. And I'm like, we have warp technology. This is dumb. The entire chase thing, that's the entire movie, dumb as shit. I hate it so much. And then, TJ, the fucking warp drive fucking collision. You just ruined every other time you blew up the Death Star. You could have just rammed a fucking Imperial cruiser through it. Are you fucking shitting me? The entire the fucking like, we gotta deliver the plan to find the weakness in the Death Star. The weakness in the Death Star is a thing that exists in physical reality that apparently you can just warp speed through and blow up the entire time. That pissed me off. I think you could tell that maybe that was upsetting to me.
A little bit.
Was it a cool cinematic moment when just it goes silent and then it explodes? Yes, it was really cool and really well done. But it blows up the entire mythology of the entire series. That being said, after I was done being pissed, really after I watched the third one and saw how absolute dog shit that was, I went back and watched The Last Jedi. And I will say, it's the best movie of the series by far. Like, it is so well done. The visuals are head and shoulders above anything else in the series. I was also pissed about Luke. I thought they could have done so much more in making him a gray Jedi and shit, and they didn't really go as far as I wanted them to with Luke. But seeing it back now, not having the expectations, they did a lot with him, way more than any of the other movies do with really any of the characters. So yeah, I would put it in send them my compliments. And if they didn't have that dumbass thing with the fucking warp engine, I would put it in send them the Oscars.
So you already covered this, John, but my sole retort to the ramming the ship through the Star Cruiser at light speed and everything, that it's dumb and it doesn't make sense. It looks so fucking cool, John. I forgave ever said that is one of the best things I've ever seen. I seen that in the theater. It goes. I was
Yep.
like, whoa! Listen. I forgave all of that. All of that. If you make it look cool enough, I can
Mm-hmm.
accept it. That was good enough for me.
And here's the thing, TJ. I usually say that if it didn't exist with all of this, if it wasn't like ruining all of this, I would have been like, rule of cool. I don't give a shit if it
Rule
doesn't
of
make
cool.
sense. But like it just crushed so much else in the storyline that, and also fucking what's her name, Jurassic Park girl. She was terrible. General Holdo.
Oh,
Uh, she was just dumb. I hate when
yeah,
a
yeah,
plot is required
yeah.
someone to just be dumb the entire time for, and then they try to redeem her with that of her being smart. People are like, oh, she was dumb the entire fucking time. This was also dumb. I hate this. I hate her. She's horrible. Benicio del Toro does a great job. They also waste his fucking character.
Yes, true, true. I agree that I remember thinking that too. I said, "Oh wow!" So she just the a great military commander just keeps all of her men in the dark. Apparently, is the lesson. He
Yeah.
was like, "No, that's the last thing you want to do. Otherwise, you have revolts like this." The treatment of Luke Skywalker, that was that's kind of I don't know. I I wanted a different Luke Skywalker, but I was okay with the one I got,
Yeah.
except for a few key points. Except for I thought the last thing he did, where he projects himself to a different
That's
planet,
really cool.
incredible. The most impressive force feat that we've seen in the movies, honestly. But
Yeah.
one thing that really bugs me is the scene when like lightning strikes Luke's library of Jedi books and everything when Yoda's ghost is there,
Mhm.
and Luke freaks out and yells, "Oh no, the sacred text!" And it's like, Luke should be long past this moment. Luke is essentially who Obi-Wan was in the first movie. Could you
Mhm.
imagine Obi-Wan Kenobi freaking out? Oh my God, the sacred text! That would never happen. I said that was the biggest slight to Luke's character. I thought him regressing or trying to kill his nephew or him turning his back on the Force. I could buy all of that. I
Mhm.
cannot buy a 70-year-old Luke Skywalker just flipping his shit like that. That's like, no, this guy should know better. That's an insult to the character.
Yeah.
And all right, so here we go. You go first, John. The Rise of Skywalker.
Hell is not worthy of a place to send them to. Like that is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Like it is so bad on every level. There are basically the only redeeming quality is that Kylo Ren is cool. Like Kylo Ren is pretty cool in the movie, but like other than that, the movies I wrote in my head were all way better than what this ends up being. In fact, I would say that how this series should have went is after the events of The Last Jedi, Kylo and Rey should have switched. I don't understand why they didn't have Rey become the bad guy and Kylo become the good guy. That would have made for such a compelling third act of this trilogy. And they're just like, nope, Palpatine, guys, this person who hasn't been involved this entire fucking time, he's the bad guy now. Yay, I fucking hated it, TJ. It's so bad. There were so many better movies that could have been written. The fact that they didn't think ahead when handling the most lucrative IP in like cinema history, they're like, we'll figure it out as we go along. Utter insanity, TJ. I just can never forgive them.
Agree,
Kathleen
John.
Kennedy, suck a dick.
Agree. This movie is inexcusable, man. I remember being so excited when I watched The Last Jedi that they had subverted our expectations. They killed Snoke. They didn't give Rey an important pass. I said, all right, they're taking some chances. They got some balls here.
Mhm.
This creative team, they must be on top of their shit. No, turns out
Mhm.
that like you said, like perhaps the most lucrative creative property in cinematic history, no roadmap. It's like, all
Mhm.
right, blank slate, 3 movies, go for it, guys. Insane that happened. I think of like Terminator. We should rank trilogy sometimes. So the Terminator, well, there's more than 3 Terminators, but the main ones like 1, 2, and 3. That James Cameron, he made Terminator 1, he had a dream, and then he had more to tell with Terminator 2. He had the stories written long before. Every
Mhm.
Terminator after that, they decided to make the movie first, then wrote the script, and you can tell. You can tell
Yeah.
when people don't actually have anything they're trying to shoot for here. And my God, John, when I saw the trailer for The Rise of Skywalker and they played Palpatine laughing in the background, I remember thinking this exact thought. They better have a damn good reason, not a good reason, a damn good reason to bring Palpatine back for this movie, because what the fuck are you talking about? Like you said, this ruins Anakin Skywalker's sacrifice. Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Nothing at all. All
Mhm.
that time, those 6 movies you put in watching the rise, fall, and redemption of Anakin, pointless because the Emperor's still here. And they don't even bother to give you a reason why he's back. Don't even bother.
No.
They have like cloning secrets only the Sith know about. That's it. That's the respect you have for your audience here. I wanted my $14 back so bad when I saw that. And then the like you mentioned how Finn is a wasted character. Insane how much they dropped the ball on Finn. Even to the point, do you remember when they were sinking in the quicksand and Finn says, "Ray, I have something to tell you." I said, "Okay, finally, they're gonna do something with Finn. Is he gonna confess his love for Ray or something?" Nope. Don't even mention it again. Don't even mention what he was talking about. I inexcusable. And then the fact that you talk about how the light speed maneuver into spacecraft ruins everything before. The fact that that the Force can just bring people back to life now kind of ruins everything too. Is that, oh, well, I guess everyone's just kind of a sucker letting everyone die like that when you have the Force that can actually revive people. I don't know, John. I can't believe this movie was made.
It's utter dog shit. There's not even a good movie in there to like
No,
want to
nothing.
be better. It's just boring from start to finish. Colby says the force battles were cool. Come on, I don't know
I don't
what he's
agree.
talking
I don't
about
know.
with the
Like,
force.
what
What do you mean with the force battle? The one cool part to me was the force like telepathic dream sequences between Ray and Kylo.
those
I thought
happened in
those.
the Last Jedi, though. That's
Oh, were
already
those
from
the
some.
Last Jedi? That
Well,
didn't happen at all.
it might have happened in that movie in Rise
Okay.
of Skywalker, but we'd already seen it in Last Jedi.
Yeah,
I thought that was
I
like,
remember it, like there was compelling scenes between Kylo Ren and Rey. That's it. That's the only part a time of the movie where I had any interest in what was going on. The rest of it was just utter dog shit, and it is a oh my god.
Tree's top. Ray being Palpatine's grandchild was always a dope twist to me, even better than Vader being Luke's son. Tree's top.
Treestop, well, I usually respect your opinion.
I know, right? I'm surprised to hear an opinion so
Everyone's
bad.
allowed to be wrong occasionally.
Ooh.
That's a tough one
Oh,
because
what did
but and here's the thing. Here's the thing, TJ. I even if I like were to agree with that, they didn't use it properly. Like that would have been cool if Ray actually became a bad guy. Like Ray should have been a bad guy. They should have done the opposite of the fucking Vader arc, and she should have turned into a bad guy at the end and unredeemed herself. Like and Kylo should have saved the day. They should have Kylo's fucking the proposition that he makes to her in the Last Jedi of let us rule the galaxy. That would have been fucking cool. Also, they never explain why the Empire is back. They never
nope.
explain
The
any
the the first
of,
order or
of
sorry.
the First Order. How did this happen? I thought we'd have 3 movies to like after the first one. It's like, oh, I wonder how this. Who's Snoke? Where did he come from? How did this happen? And then the second movie, you just spend the next like 4 hours of fucking time, and we don't explain any of this. Like, okay, this third movie's carrying a lot of weight. Maybe we'll finally explain what happened. Nope, no one ever explains. Maybe it's like fucking a couple lines of dialogue. I don't even fucking remember. But like, there's no feasible way that this all fucking happened. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. And there could have been intrigue there, TJ. There could have been intrigue of like how the rebels like couldn't govern after they fucking excited, and then a fascist revolution ended up taking over. Like that could have been cool. There could have been 3 factions of like. There's so many things that could have happened, TJ, and they just ruined it. They ruined it. And I'm heated, and it sucks.
John, we didn't even mention how they wasted Domhnall Gleeson as an actor completely playing Hux. And that scene in the third movie where he says, "I'm the spy." I was like, "Are you fucking joking? That this is like the brilliant general that we're talking here." And Colby, I think you're wrong here. You said that's episode 9. They talked through the Force in episode 8. I am positive they talked in episode 8 because didn't he grab like a necklace from her when she was on Luke's island? I'm pretty sure that was episode 8. But it doesn't matter. But that's just what I'm thinking there. But yeah, John, this is Palpatine coming back for no discernible reason. Like the Palpatine having like a fleet of Star Destroyers on his planet here, fully manned somehow when they were buried underground and everything. It's insane. I don't know. I can't and then what does Tree Stop say here? It's one of my most unpopular. I agree they could have done it better. All right, well you're right about that. But John, yeah, somewhat yeah, like hell is not a punishment strong enough for the Rise of Skywalker. The fact that it ends with her saying I'm Rey Skywalker now because she talked to Leia a couple of times and that's it.
Oh, that's another scene I fucking hated in The Last Jedi. Leia's fucking, I was like, that was dumb. That was so
that
dumb.
was dumb. Because you know what?
Unbelievably dumb.
I was wondering how they're going to do this because Carrie Fisher died in between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And so I was like, ooh, how are they going to handle this? This is tricky. This isn't someone you could just write off screen, you know? This is Princess Leia. And then when they had the attack and her body's in space, I was like, okay, all right, this is how they're ending it. No. I was like, oh no, that I didn't care for that either. That was kind of strange.
That was miserable. Anyway, I know you're like 50 minutes.
Yeah, if I'm late, I got to take off. But thank you so much, John.
Thank you guys for this almost completely non-political episode of The Left Wing. We will be back on Tuesday with your regularly scheduled Crimes Against Humanity coverage. But until then, enjoy your time. What are you going to say, DJ?
I won't be here Tuesday. Remember?
Okay, that's right.
I've got to save the dates, but I'll get those to you. But all right, guys, catch you later.
Bye.